ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Stacey Davids. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. We also welcome Mr. Alex McGowan, representing the Naval Association of Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. You may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Gunner Harold Erskine Lyle. Harold Lyle was born about 1900 in the Melbourne suburb of Brunswick, the son of John Erskine Lyle and his wife, Annie. Harold was the middle child, having an older brother, John, and a younger sister, Alice. By the late 1930s, he was married to Hazel Lucrece. The couple were living in Modialock in Melbourne's southeast, where Lyle was working as a bank manager. Harold Lyle enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 1st of July, 1940. By October, he had been posted to the 3rd Light Anti-Aircraft Regiment, which was forming at Werribee. He remained there until the end of the year, when, on the 29th of December, the unit embarked for overseas service aboard the ocean liner, now troopship Mauritania. 2 weeks later, the men arrived at Colombo, where they transshipped to HMT Devonshire. Sailing through the Suez Canal, the ship disembarked the men at Haifa in Palestine on the 31st of January, 1941. The 3rd Light Anti-Aircraft Regiment was initially stationed near Gaza, where they conducted further training. On the 5th of February, they were visited by Prime Minister Menzies. Sergeant Hugh Hill said that after being made to stand for 2 hours along the road, the boys were wild. Next day, one of the regiment's 3 batteries, the 8th, was sent to Tobruk to aid in the besieged garrison's defense. In early April, as the Allied Expeditionary Force arrived in Greece, the remainder of the 3rd Light Anti-Aircraft Regiment set out for Amaria in Egypt. There, the regimental headquarters would remain, along with the 9th Battery. The 7th Battery, to which Harold belonged, was destined elsewhere. Originally intended to go to Greece, it quickly became clear the campaign there was doomed and that Allied troops would be evacuated. The 7th Battery would therefore go to the island of Crete. Under the command of Major Hipworth, it embarked from Alexandria aboard the Ulster Prince on the 22nd of April. Arriving 2 days later amid the chaos of troops evacuated from Greece, the battery was initially positioned near the main town of Hania. Some men helped out on the docks, while others put up tents for a British Army hospital. At night, they camped among the olive groves. Expecting the Germans would soon try and capture Crete, some 48,000 Allied troops remained on the island to defend it. Anticipating the enemy would attack by air, the 7th Battery's complement of 16 Bofors anti-aircraft guns would be valuable. At the end of April, headquarters, along with the majority of B and C troops, were moved east to Heraklion, where they would defend the aerodrome. On the 4th of May, A Troop was repositioned to defend Marlim Airfield just west of Hania. Gunner Lyle was with them. Before long, the Luftwaffe attacks commenced. The bombing and strafing gradually increased over the next few weeks until the morning of the 20th of May. Beginning just before 7 a.m., each anti-aircraft gun was attacked by multiple dive bombers. Then came the gliders, followed by the paratroops. Landing to the west of the Tavernaites River, the enemy glider troops sought cover in the dry riverbed. Their mission was to seize control of the bridge and then capture the adjacent Marlim airfield. That would allow them to rapidly bring in many more troops. The attackers were from the elite German Airborne Assault Regiment. Their glider-borne troops had already suffered heavy casualties, but Major Braun and Oberleutnant von Plessen rallied a group of survivors for the assault. A fierce battle took place on the airfield's western end as they stormed the positions held by New Zealand infantrymen. The Germans were only a few yards away, hurling grenades into the main trench near the Bofors gun. The Australian anti-aircraft gunners, including Harold, joined their fellow Anzacs and fought it out, but soon they were overwhelmed. The position was taken, and all but one of them were killed. Among the dead was Harold Lyle. With the airfield captured, Crete was lost. The Allied survivors were evacuated by the end of May. The 7th Battery had suffered heavily. 71 men got away. Nearly 200 had become casualties, 50 dead, the rest in hiding in Crete or taken prisoner. Harold's body was not recovered from the battlefield. Today, he is commemorated at the memorial at Phaleron War Cemetery in Athens. He was 41 years old. Lyle's name is also listed on the Roll of Honor on my left among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Gunner Harold Erskine Lyle, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. And we wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.